Masechet Zevahim Daf Pei Haid Amud Aleph, few lines down by the Mishnah. Klei halach mikadashinu telach. Vessels that are used for liquids make liquids kadosh. Midot yavesh makdashot yavesh. And measurements that make the solids are used for solids make the solids kadosh. And kli halach mikadashet yavesh. Something that's used for fluids does not make kadosh solids, but yavesh makdashet halach, not vice versa. Klei kadosh nikavu, if there's a vessel that got punctured. Im mosin behin me'ayra. No, if they could technically still do most of the job that they used to do when they were whole, Mekashin still makes the Kadosh. But if it's not useful anymore, and Mekashin doesn't make it holy, and all of them only make Kadosh if it's inside the Hatzer or Nehecha. Marshmallow. This only applies to measurements. But basins can make even the fluid basins make even solids kadosh as well. Solid. One second, the mincha mentioned that korban is moist. Who says it's a proof for solids? Ravina says it's referring to the liquid part, the dry parts in it is even chaya. Is kadosh. You say, you know what? If you want to say, um, even if you want to say that the kadosh for vessel, the minhaf, even though it's wet, it's considered still dry, and therefore it's still kadosh, even though it's moist. Okay, Amar Shmuel, and that's why the Hidush that it's dry. Okay, Amar Shmuel, Klesh Red, Emek Hachin Elash Lamin, Kadosh vessels only are Makdish when it's whole, Emek Hachin Melin, and only when they're full. Emek Hachin El Dachan only sanctifies things inside. Amir, that's a different version. Emek Hachin Elash Lamin, Laim Mithim. Only Kadosh whole, full, and inside. My banana, what's the difference? He could banana Meirusem Midot. The difference is whether or not when the stuff starts overflowing to the top on the rim. First way you're saying, the first version? On the inside. Second version, even above. This is kind of a mixture of both versions. It only applies when is it kadosh once it's full, when you do not have intention to add. If you have intention to add, then every single part is kadosh because eventually you'll fill it up. It says, well, is full, that means whole. Marvel said, when is it considered whole? Only means not adding. Abba is trying to add, Rishon Rishon Kadosh, and everything is Kadosh in the beginning because he's going to add. Okay, next part of the Mishnah. En Kle Halach Mekadesh. Vessels, trying to sneeze. Yeah, the stuff for dry does not make liquids, and liquids not dry. Amarav Rav, Itzim Amarav Ase. En Mekashin Nekarev, these vessels do not make things Kadosh. Therefore, they burn the Mizbeach. Aber Mekadeshin Lavazelo, they make it pasul. Because the Matnas has some the following great way. Even if in Minahot, you don't bring Korban Mincha and Sachim or libations, Minhat Behema or Minha that comes to an animal, Ubikurim or Bikurim, Mina Medua or mixtures that have Turma mixed inside. Um, Mein Zarich Humar, some don't even bring me the opinion or the items of Me'orla, Kelem from Orla or Kilaim of the vineyard. Maybe, but if you did bring that, Lo Kadesh not Kadosh. Hamaram eats Merabase, Lo Kadesh the Karev, you can't bring it as a Mizbeach, Ama Kadesh the Pasal, but it is Pasul. Turn Clay Kodesh Nikevu, a vessel that became a hole, and Matichinotan, you don't melt down that area to fix it. But in Matichino Dochana, you don't put melted lead inside. If you move, it's damaged. Imma takin you don't fix it. Sakin shinigam, the knife was that nicked. Imma shchisin bigma, you don't just file that part. Nishmetav, it slips out of the handle. Imma chsidin you don't come back. Meaning you don't do the minor fixing it to fix the entire thing from scratch. Melt the whole thing down if you have to. Mashal there. Sakim mitrefet ha'itam megdash, there was a certain knife in the Beit HaMikdash that was just always had nicks in it and it would always make terefot. They decided not to kish it. They didn't try to refix it. They just put it away. Turn around. Big Dekuna, the clothing of the Kohanim. Sinotam Maase Nahat, you can't sew it. Ela Maase Oreg, you have to weave it. Shneimar. Maase Oreg, weave yours, weird, the pastor says. Nitga'aluv became dirty. Imekapasino lo beneter v'lo ba'avad, you cannot wash it with neter or ahal. These are type of detergents. How ma'amekapsin, does that mean you can wash it with water? As long as you don't use detergent, how does that make sense? Where it says, if it's brought to the point where you need water, then you could wash it with a detergent. If it's like a minor stain. However, but if you need a detergent to clean it, After my because you don't even wash it with water. Yeshua even says in a house you can't wash it at all. She'an yut come natural because it looks like a poverty thing to do to wash these beautiful clothing, and that's what. Timberland. معيل كلوش تخيلت هذا معيل was made out of complete of تخيلت wool. شنمر بيعصت معيل هفر كليل تخيلت شو لاف كسر how the hem of the معيل made ما في تخيل بعد ما بيطلع شنو مش with thread these type of threads the turquoise purple and scarlet wools twisted together but also then community of lynch lop تخوب hen and they make like the shape of pomegranates in the bottom وكمان كانوا اوت كانوا شغلات بشنا كانوا and they also كانوا تيناغوت they also made like these the shape of like the cones of the helmets when they used to play like sports this type of headgear وما فيش شنايم زي they make 72 bells شبهن شنايم equal with 72 clappers inside the bells and until then you put on the bells with the clappers on top of it so people could hear the Kohen walk by كون هذا ויש 36 וסדת 36 on one side 36 וסדת 36 on the other side ولسه ماشيين ريدا 36 היו 36 total 18 מצד זה ומצד 18 each مربع إننا בעלי ששון כמחלוקת כאן just מחלוקת regarding מעיל כמחלוקת מאוד נגיד to מחלוקת regarding the tzaraat what's considered the shade of tzaraat meaning Talmud says not nagaim to say the appearance of a tzaraat just American it says there would be 36 types of tzaraat. There was 72 different types of shades of tzaraat. Okay, next. Amar Rabbi and Anna says he said, "Lama why did the Kohanim put the pasuk put korbanot next to the pasuk of Big Day Kahuna, the clothing? One I teach you. Ma korbanot mefarim just like the korban brings kapara. A Big Day Kahuna mekaparim to the clothing brings kapara. Kutonet mekapera shifuzim that the kutonet the Kohen brings kapara for killing. Shnamar veishatu seira izim veitlut kohen badam. Ben asam mekapera agli arot. The pants bring kapara for arayot shneimar ba'aseh lehem yechesei bad lechasut b'sad erva. Misinefet dehat mechapera l'gesei ruach it brings kapara for those who are arrogant. Minay I know this. Marbi Yohanina yavod davar shenebagva because something that's more high and high mechapera gavoa you atones for someone who feeling high haughtiness. Abnet mechapera l'hirolev the belt is kapara for the thoughts, improper thoughts of the heart. Because why? Because that's where it's placed. The belt was wrapped around the chest near the heart. Hoshen mechapera dinin. Hoshen brings kapara for those who do the wrong justice. And Shnemar va'asita Hoshen mishpat. Next, efod brings mechapera avod kavim brings kapara for avod zar. Shnemar ina efod utrafim. Me'il mechapera l'shon hara, me'il brings kapara for l'shon hara, and I am marechna yavod davar shebekol because something that makes a sound, the bells, v'chapera kol hara brings kapara for evil sound. V'sis mechapera al panim and tzis brings kapara for like chutzpah. V'sis k'tiv mit pasuk says v'haya al masach Aharon. V'asut panim k'tiv similar pasuk by Yirmiyah says u'masach isha zona helach. Any 1 second. Does the Avrot of murder and Lashon Hara bring kapara by the Kohanim, that by the clothing. V'amar b'Shov ben Levi, shnei dvarim lo masinu len kapara mekomnot. We found two things that you can't find kapara through kapanot. Umasinu lo kapara mekom b'achar. We found kapara elsewhere. B'Elohen, sheichud l'vim Lashon Hara, killing in Lashon Hara, sheichud l'vim me'egla rufa. Killing we see kapara by the egla rufa elsewhere. The guy got killed between cities. The Lashon Hara make ketoret, and the Lashon Hara gets kapara by the ketoret. Tan rechimna minayin the ketoret shebachar hayin the bigay kapara from the ketoret. Shneimar be'iten the ketoret be'chaper la'am. Tan rei Yishmael al maktor mechaper was the ketoret giving kapara for al Lashon Hara yavod davar shebechashay ve'chaper ma'aseh chashay because what is Lashon Hara? It's doing private, and the incense the ketoret doing privately gets kapara for that. Kasher Lashon Hara al Lashon Hara kasher mishpatim so stira. What brings kapara for Lashon Hara and murder? Seemingly two different opinions. Like I said, it's not a contradiction. Had the adad man gakle in the case the kapara is brought for murder by the clothing is by the shirt of the Kohen is where it's known murderer. Had learned monthly, but if you don't know who killed it, that's when you bring Allah Rufa. The Gemara says, "Idiada man gakle markatahu." If you know who killed him, then he's hayamita. Gemara says, "The he killed on purpose, but didn't warn him in advance. That's why they couldn't execute him." So this is where he gets. This is where the world gets kapara. But shonara, no sida we're going to shonara. Habasina, the Torah gives kapara for private, like we said earlier, because it's done in private. Habaviazian and the Me'il brings kapara for public. Shonara. I don't know how to be Kadesh. I don't know how to be Kadesh. I don't know how to be Kadesh.